Hey, shop gals and guys out there. It is time for another Shop Gal CEO Diary. Last time, which was maybe a while ago, May was the last one. I introduced you to the work that I will be doing that I am embarking on. I introduced you to tattoo as an inheritance and remembrance, repair, and revolution in a neo-colonial world. My actual living dissertation that I will be working on through Black Tattoo Anthology as I write this book, um, cultural stewardship the Cultural Stewardship Playbook. There will be more about that on the blog, so make sure that you click through and subscribe to my Substack. I give you my abstract in the last post. I give you why we ink in the last post. I give you the central research inquiry that pretty much anchors everything that I will be doing going forward, as well as what I will be examining in the phenomenon of what I call tattoo hunger and absence. So, there's a lot going on there. I also introduced you, if you skipped over to Tattoo Rants, Raves, and Rituals after that post, then you will see that the last podcast were over there, and it was introducing you to some of the cultural stewards that we worked with for Black Tattoo Culture Con 1.0, or the inaugural. Let's say the inaugural 1.0. We're on our way to BTC C 2.0. And I'm very excited because I get to deepen my work within tattoo, and merging more with tattoo and academia is something that a lot of Black tattoo artists are not doing. And if they are, we're doing it kind of in hiding. I'm trying to be as loud and as proud and as boisterous, and here I am, and here we are, as possible. So if you enjoy these posts, you enjoy these dialogues, these conversations, these think pieces, if you enjoy the work in general, please share it. Tell somebody about it. Tell somebody about Black Tattoo Anthology and what we got going on over there. Tell somebody about me as a tattoo priestess and a brand maven, and what I have going on in general, including Black Tattoo Anthology. So, look, this particular episode that we are doing today, that you're going to listen to, is a conversation between me and my godmother. I'm very excited about this conversation because we were talking about apprenticeships, and in talking about apprenticeships, we were seeing some similarities in how people respond to traditional apprenticeships, both in African traditional religions, ATRs, and what they look like in traditional tattoo, and how people pretty much reject it, and what it looks like for that to be rooted in colonialism, like to be rooted in, excuse me, Eurocentric thought, which is wild. So we decided that before I give this next introduction of catalog from at Tattoo Rants, Raves, and Rituals, before I give that introduction of that catalog, I wanted to talk to a community elder. We're going to be doing this often, where we talk to community elders before we have certain topics introduced. So they'll be introduced by talking to a community elder, someone who does not tattoo, maybe not related to tattoo, possibly don't even get tattooed, but we can see the similarities and how these things show up in real world, like in other everyday life. And with that, really start to answer some questions, and deepening some knowledge about what that looks like to return to tradition, because I think it's also imperative to define that, to define what that means to return to traditions. Like, whose traditions are we returning to? What do we have to unlearn? What do we have to decolonize? And what work does that, like, what does the work actually look like, right? So when it comes to tattoo and academia, what I have noticed in a lot of spaces, and one of the reasons why I am about to be going so hard, and I hope you join me for this journey, is that at the end of the day, we have these spaces, these anthropological spaces, and I feel like anthropology is more of just a study of shit. Like it's not we do something with it, we study and we inform, but it doesn't always translate to informing to make, a better experience in the world for that particular culture that we study, more so than it seems like. And I'm saying seems because I don't know the whole anthropology world. I'm an ethnohistorian. Um, which means that with ethnohistory, being able to go back and get it, being able to go back and sankofa things so that you can actually impart them going forward, things that worked, things that didn't work, see if if you can re-engage it, re-innovate, things like that around those. Ethnohistory is very active. Anthropology feels more like we study these things because we're curious. It's like exotic porn to us. And then we share it. We go back and we share it with our communities, this exotic porn that um, we've been able to experience, right? But it's not to make that culture that you've experienced better or to even preserve that culture for that culture's use. Oftentimes, from what I've seen so far in anthropology, it is literally being able um to observe what you would consider an exotic culture, or a culture that um you wouldn't normally have access to, and make it more of a spectacle within your own community, as opposed to figuring out what can help that community, the community that you actually were observing. So in that, one of my goals in terms of being a very active tattoo ethnohistorian is to actually spend more time learning about the processes and the culture, that Black tattoo culture awakens from, that that it's almost being returned back to, and to do my part in helping to return that culture back to where it was pre-colonialism, right? To return back to practices that we had. Like I'm learning a lot about how practices in Yoruba land, and and in Igbo culture, and Benin and such, have been outlawed. So, there's no boundary around like Western tattoo, right? And that mindset around Western tattoo, but there's big boundary around indigenous and cultural tattooing. I find that wild and interesting. But there's lots of fucking um there's lots of study of tattoo culture, from Africa, right? From the continent. Now, within that study, what I've also noticed is that most of the anthropologists who study these things aren't Black. And if they aren't practitioners. So it makes it very hard to elevate and position tattoo and return it back to its culture when, one, most of the people who are actually studying the culture, who are unearthing it, aren't us. And then two, they're not us and they're not practitioners. Some of them don't even get, most people, a lot of these people don't even get tattoos, right? It's literally, and for a lot of people, for a lot of experience, it literally becomes more of like colonial porn. Um, and I say that because we don't necessarily, or we haven't necessarily looked at things from more of like an exotic eye, if you will, until colonialism. Then it was like, ooh, shiny, ooh, I want that to be, ooh, I like that. As opposed to pre-colonialism where, things were shared, or you just respected it as that is that space, that is for that culture, that is for that tribe, X, Y, and Z. We have our own shit over here. So with that, we are deep diving, as I write my book, Cultural Stewardship Playbook, which the Cultural Stewardship Playbook is, in fact, a, what's the word I'm looking for? It is it's a guide. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a guide for people who are interested in Black tattoo culture, both who are interested as purveyors and who are interested as practitioners specifically, or especially if you wish to be a practitioner. What does it look like to hold space for the culture? And we always say like for the culture, and it's a very vague saying these days when we say for the culture. We used to say it for Black culture, but even Black culture is not a monolith. So then you have to specify what type of culture within Black culture. For me, for when I say for the culture, I mean literally for Black people who are being called to tattoo. Whether it is to actually tattoo or to experience tattoo, they may not know why, and it's bringing everything from the feel good into the frontal lobe so that we can better examine and better discern what works for us and what doesn't, both individually and as a collective, right? So that's where this is. And with that, we are going to take a lot of time, um, just building one, the Black Tattoo Anthology catalog, and then two, being able to what's the word I'm looking for? Being able to see and experience some or hear about some of the experience from tattoo artists, especially older tattoo artists, our living tattoo history, and what their experiences have been in this diasporic movement of tattoo, and how we can innovate, how we continue to innovate, but also get to the economics of it all, so that not only of course, a lot of things that Black people do don't just help Black people, it helps progress like the world forward, right? So while we want to be able to get to the economics of it all, where it would actually benefit the whole of tattoo industry, getting to the economics of it all to lessen barriers for people to get into the industry, for people to understand the industry, for people to access artists who they will want to actually work with, as opposed to settling for their local white artists, or their local artists who just doesn't they don't get whatever you are actually trying to come to the table with. They don't get you because they don't get your culture. And a lot of times they don't fucking care. So there's that. So this is that. In this upcoming what am I trying to say? In this upcoming conversation with my Iya, we are talking about apprenticeships, and we are talking about apprenticeships as it pertains to ego and mindset, right? Um, yeah, yeah, that's what we're talking about. There will be a whole um I want to say, I think it's like eight or nine episodes again of talking to Black tattoo artists, and their experiences with apprenticeships, their thoughts around apprenticeships. There's a big conversation in the community right now. Should apprenticeships be paid? Why do we need apprenticeships when we have YouTube? Things like that. And one part of my cultural stewardship is making sure the culture of traditional apprenticeships isn't lost, not just the culture of traditional apprenticeships as it relates to tattoo, um, as a worldwide kind of industry, but specifically what cultural or traditional apprenticeships do and why they are important to Black culture, especially if you are coming into the industry as a tattoo artist. Like, there are so many life lessons, there are so many proverbs, there are so many things that you learn in shaping your character in terms of tattoo, as opposed to just, I don't know, just tattooing, right? And when it comes to being Black culture, we are very much a communal people. We are very much a tribe mind people. As much as a lot of people want to reject it, like, that is us. It is really in our DNA, and that includes how we learn, right? That includes, staying at people's houses, being up all types of hours, learning through osmosis. hmm these are things that are coming up in this conversation. So I'm not going to hold you. I'm going to say that you want to actually tune into this conversation. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please make sure that you leave them in the comment sections from wherever you are listening. You can message us at Black Tattoo Anthology. You can subscribe to my Substack. Ipu Kawaii is my name on all platforms. You can actually, like, I'm a real person, so you can really pull up and we can really have these discussions. So just because it is presented to you digital does not mean that it has to stay digital and we have to stay far apart. Part of the reasons of these discussions are so that we come closer together. So with that, without further ado, let us talk to Oloye Iya Sade, Ajala, about tattoo apprenticeships and traditional tattoo or traditional apprenticeship culture, just across the board. Let's get into it. Hi and welcome. Hey. Okay, so we are here at Tattoo Rants, Raves, and Rituals. We are with a community elder. Yeah,
Am I considered?
yeah, you
Hell,
are.
I'm
You
still
are.
young. What you talking
Yeah.
about?
We ain't say, oh, elder, you knowledgeable, you wise.
Thank you.
I was about to say, tell me it ain't so.
I I'm just gonna say something.
So we're talking about a hot topic in the community right now, which is about apprenticeships, and I think it's a great deal to talk about it from a traditional aspect, especially when we start talking about what it looks like to return tattoo back to its traditional roots and customs. Apprenticeships are a big part of tattoo culture in general, because tattoo is oral and it's handed down. It's literally ritualistic in how it's given from one elder to the student, from the master to the student. But we seem to have lost our way. We seem to have lost our way in what apprenticeships are, in this new era, this digital age, this microwave society, and what that looks like to actually dedicate yourself to your craft and what it is that you're learning. So today we are talking this series, actually, we are talking a lot about apprenticeships, from an African and a diasporic perspective. How they serve us, what can be updated, what we may have lost, and what's important there. So we're just going to go through a few questions and we're just going to let this conversation flow. Before that, though, I'm going to let my godmama, I'm going to let Ia introduce herself.
Hey y'all. I'm Iya Sade, Oloye, Amuri Wa for ya, Awo Sade Oyawumi, Ifa Wemi Dao Shunike, um, oh my God, what's my other one? Egbeg Bumi and OJ, OJ Yemi. Ajala. Yes, I have a lot of names. I have a lot of initiations. And also Yaya and Doki and Genga. And so I am initiated in the rites of Oya, Oshun, Egbe, Egungun, um, Ifa, and uh, Siete Rayos and Palo. So, with that being said, I have training um, and experience here in the diaspora in the northern Americas, United States of America, um, Cuba, Caribbean, and of course Nigeria via Oshogbo and Oyo in Lagos. And a lot of my elders came from those lineages. And my mission has always been to bridge the gap between traditions and the new world and the diaspora. It's very important that we always keep the roots very clear on where tradition comes from. I am very straight to the point with that in the origin of many things and never to forget those things and how um, the diaspora has kept it alive, but how the root has definitely influenced those things. And I also am a root worker. I call myself root worker, conjure worker under the umbrella of hoodoo. And those traditions were passed on to me via ancestral, via elders I have worked with different folk herbs and different applications of workings and tricking and all of that. All of the things. So I am your regular juju woman. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm also a huge fan of tattoos. As you see, I have over 30 and over my body, and
If you
I
could still
still won't
count them,
stop.
you can't, you don't have enough.
I don't have enough. Okay, I'm already planning my next two. Okay, already got it set up. My next two. It's crazy because I just got two this year. I got two. It seemed like I get one or two every year. It's wild, but I had a couple cover-ups, so I kind of start over. I don't count the tattoo that's under the cover-up. But anyway, so we're gonna talk about, Imani and I are gonna talk about how the correlation in keeping the traditional alive and tattoo can correlate with African traditional practices and the apprenticeship bridging and how important it is to start from the bottom and work your way up. Not start from the way up and work your way down. Is start from the bottom and working your way up with gratitude and observance and practical and logical academia and all of that. But this is, tattooing uh African traditions, and ATR, we're gonna say ATR and ADR, African traditional religions and African diasporic religions. So ATR, ADR, the correlations are so close because hands-on is very important. The practicality of the traditions, each one tattooing, what we practice is at least 80% 80% practical. I say the rest is definitely a academia level, of course, studies oral, big, huge oral tradition. Now, in the new world with African traditional religions, which is slash ADR, of course, you have the books that have written, but traditionally, it is an oral tradition. So to keep those things alive, you have to understudy and apprentice under the eldership of people who know.
I like that word. I
No.
forget about that word, understudy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah, you only
In
hear
the salon, I did that I'm also a 30 plus year vet in the hair industry. And I had to apprentice. I had to get in the game. I had to start at the bottom. That was shampooing. You know what I'm saying? I was cleaning up, sweeping the shop, wiping down this and all that. You start, you observe. And I've noticed in Nigeria, you got people that's it's not they want to learn ATR, but they stay. First of all, you live with your Oloye, your teacher. You like 95% of them live with the families have brought them there, or they go and ask that, oh, well, can you understudy? Then it's a whole process. Divination is done. You ask the family it's a whole process.
Let me slide in there right quick because I got questions there.
Okay, all right. We
So,
pause.
first of all, when it comes to that, your understanding of being what it is to be an apprentice. Let's talk to that. And then also talk to what it is. I say all the time when you're becoming something, you have to act in that mindset 24/7 to actually become it. And it feels like if you're living with your Oluwo, even though you haven't gotten those rights bestowed upon you yet, you're literally living in that lifestyle 24/7 before you actually cross the bridge or cross the sands. If you play it, you know what that means. Or any of that. But what does that look like in terms of being an apprentice and living in that? You've done multiple initiations, including, something that we would consider just as basic, and it's not basic at all, in terms of doing hair. So with that, what does that look like to have lived that many times as an understudy and your idea of an apprentice?
Oh, that's a loaded question. No, that was like five questions in one. As far as ATR and ADR, the challenge in America is that we live all separate. You know, everybody live in their own space and things like that. So sometimes, even in different states, so sometimes it's hard for people to commit to that. That mean cleaning the shrines. That mean cleaning the shrines. That come and take an inventory of things, come and assist with a client. You're observing, okay, because you're head on learning those rituals. You know, you're seeing the practicality of those rituals being done. Okay, go bring me the water. Go bring me this leaf. If I tell you enough times what this leaf is, you need to put that in your memory. Go outside and go pick this leaf. So go get the dry leaf. It's in this area. You're gonna bring me this, that, and that, and that. You're gonna bring me the phone. And what is the purpose? What's the spiritual purpose behind each one? You'll pick up the nuances over and over if you commit. If you commit to um to that aspect of, okay, I'm going to sacrifice my time. Yeah, because one thing I'm tired of hearing is I'm tired. I had to work all day. I got school. I had to cook for the kids. Um, ma'am, sir. I was a single mother when I was getting into this. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, my kids was with me. I don't know what the hesitancy is involving your children. Also, that's another aspect. They should be observant in that. I'm not sure how it is in tattooing, but it's a family nuance, you know, in ATR and ADR. So they also will pick up those nuances, but as far as the apprenticeship, it's so many different levels. Like in Nigeria, you would you would live with your Olowo, and what if he say, go wash the clothes, that's what you're gonna do. Go to the market and go get all the stuff for dinner, whether it's rice or whatever. Yeah, that means drive to go pick up the clients from the airport that's 4 hours away, and you riding with the driver to welcome in the guests, clean the house up. Those things bring in, you know what those cater in? Discipline.
Character.
It Character, integrity, loyalty, commitment, um, organization, stability. It brings in a just those nuances build character. They surely build character. But I must say, it is far and in between. And I'm not saying it's for everybody in the US. It is hard to find that type of commitment because of the overwhelming stresses of today's society in America. You know, people are in school, people are working other full-time jobs in Nigeria. Doing this is full-time work. It is a job. It is, you know, people think that it's a secondary job, but it's you can be a Babalawo Yanifa, Babalarisha, Ilarisha full time, you know. Um, and so it should be respected and revered as such, you know, with the devotion because it takes years to learn and you still don't know everything. It's like getting a PhD. Seriously, it's no joke. To become a serious Yanifa Babalawo takes at least 20 years of anywhere between 15 to 20 years of every single day application.
For people who may not know, can you translate what a Ianifa or Babalawo is, so people can translate it to what that means in terms of like
Those are
tattoo?
those are elder and well-trained and initiated priests and priestesses to Ifa. But you have Babalorisha and Ilarisha also who would be equivalent to that in the Orisha if they're initiated to Oshun or Oya or Shango or Batala. But Iyanifa and Babalawo is specific to Orumila/Ifa. But all of them require long and extensive training. every time I go to Nigeria, every time I go to a different festival to work hands-on to assist, support, I learn a new nuance, a new herb, a new application to the same herbs that I know. And because something can be prepared 10,000 different ways is always, and then there's different lineage nuances. They do things different in Ogun State and do that, in Kitsi. They do, things are going to be slightly, they may begin differently in the same across Yoruba land and in America and Cuba. I'm in Cuba, they doing things that's look extremely familiar. It like again, it started differently, but it surely ends the same. And you can see those same nuances, but slightly different. Like, oh, okay, I see how they do it here. And you're picking up those things along the way, whether you take it in because your lineage is different or not. It's the thing about experiencing those things and and being well traveled because you can't say what doesn't exist. You can't say that. So, apprenticeship is all inclusive to that.
So with that, when it comes to that, geez, I had a loaded question again. I'm glad it unloaded
Thank
itself.
God.
With that, so in Western world, right? Yes, we do have things that we're doing real time. What what would you say to, like, you were able to still master doing hair. You're still able to master, you know, many parts of spirituality within yourself. What would you say to it if someone feels like they're called to something like tattoo? Because, if you look at that even as a priesthood, if you're called to something like tattoo and they say, I don't have time, I'm working this job, I'm doing X, Y,
Oh,
and Z.
that's not the person you want to have training under you because you need the person to have a level of commitment. I, as a teacher, as an elder, as you say, can't be um overly zealous, is that
Mhm.
the word? For someone else
Yeah.
wanting you can want all day, but if you're not going to be present, and I know.
All right, y'all, just so you guys know, the gates are open, the floodgates are open for You May Create Club. If you don't know what that is my private membership club where you can either learn to build a brand or you can learn to tattoo. Either which way, it is a club for creatives. It is a creative cult so that way you can really, really deep dive, hyper focus, nerd out, geek out, whatever you want to do around your creativity. Let me show you what we outside with. So, first of all, you can just subscribe. With subscribing, you get our brand playbook, you get a curated 3-day marketing challenge, and you get to start to jumpstart feeling your brand feeling like home. We also have a $35 masterclass that you can attend. You can join. With this masterclass, it is 90 minutes, but you can get the fuck out of your own way. Okay. You can dish the chaos, you can embrace the magic, and you can market with purpose. This masterclass is specifically about marketing and about how to show up mindfully and how to show up authentically. It's only $35, and it's literally the gift that keeps on giving. So think of it as like a plant, right? When you buy a plant and you nourish it, it just keeps going year after year. If you buy this masterclass and you nourish your brand with what is in this masterclass, it is going to keep giving year after year. It's going to be the best $35 you've ever fucking spent. And I thank you for spending it with me so that I can help you with your with your anti brand. Because why would I not want to see you win? Okay. So there's that. Another part of You May Create Club ecosystem is literally our 6-week brand accelerator where you can work with me. And with working with me, I walk you through how to actually create your anti-brand, how to make sure that you have a brand that is exuberant of your trailblazing and helps you market and helps you manifest with clarity, confidence, and character. And all of that for cash flow. Last but not least, as I told you before, as I started this, my tattoo academy is now open. We are accepting applicants. We accepting students. Yeah. The course is a 90-day course. It is a tattoo accelerator. It is heavy, so it is where you have to commit. You have to commit weekly, you have to commit to your learning, you have to commit to your studying, you have to commit to your practice, you have to commit to you. Because that's what tattoo is. You have to commit to you so that way you can better hold space and commit to creating with someone else. So just so you know, You May Create Club is way open. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have the links for you so that you can subscribe, or you can find the offering of your choice and we can connect that way. Back to the program.
So.
So you would think of it as like a whole recipe. The
Oh,
apprenticeship
yeah.
is like a whole
Oh,
recipe.
yes. Yeah. Starting from the bottom, you cannot start any recipe without what? Firstly, what?
Pot.
Washing your hands.
Well, that's true.
That you gotta sanitize.
I mean,
Maybe you gonna get the pot, but I'm gonna wash my hands first.
wait, what? A pot?
My hands. Or buy the ingredients first, getting the ingredient list. I'm going down that ingredient list. Go in the kitchen, start preparing. You got to prepare. So starting from the bottom. You don't just have this doggone thing already cooked. It's levels.
Yeah, you
Levels.
can't come in and tattoo like, yeah, I know how to draw now. I can tattoo. I've learned that in
Which
henna.
is different on skin.
Yeah, I learned that in henna.
Skin? Like even I'm just saying because you
It's
got some
deeply
people that's
different.
oily, like henna don't last on me because I got oily skin, especially on
Hmm.
my face. I tried henna eyebrows before,
And it was
and
like, no.
oh, they lasted 2 days. My skin. But the lady said your skin is very oily. It won't
Yeah.
last. She did warn me it won't last very long.
Skin feels different.
But everybody is different. Skin tone, melanin,
Yeah.
and dryness. And then I also have autoimmune disorder, psoriasis, and I have skin like you can start
All of that.
a tattoo somewhere which can trigger somebody's psoriasis. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to know how to work with people's autoimmune disorders, or if they keloid, which is an autoimmune disorder. It's so many things. Um, connected with to me and with tattooing apprenticeship. There's so many things, the sanitation aspect. Like when I went to
Wait, bro,
cosmetology,
your eyes.
when I went to cosmetology, I mean bacteriology was a huge chapter, and you had to learn so many diseases and disorders and um disorders and how to recognize those things. I thought I was a dermatologist for a minute. You had to reckon. I'm glad that I went through formal and not just because in Maryland you don't have to have a license to be a natural hairstylist, but I know in Ohio you have to have a license, and so um, I'm glad I went through those formal trainings because even sanitizing a comb is vital. You can transfer fungus, even fungus that somebody can't get rid of. Fun like that's in it's people don't understand. If you don't understand sanitation and bacteriology, you can't move forward and tattooing. Like that should be at least 4 to 6 months hardcore knowledge and training. It's the
Staph,
bacteria.
MRSA.
Oh my God.
People don't realize that hepatitis stays on the surface for up to 30 days. So what that looks like to clean that, sanitizing the air. Oh,
Yeah.
that's my favorite one to do. Because I'd be like, nope, I ain't got time for it.
It's a lot. It's a lot of and then fungus live. It's a lot of people that fungus live on their skin. You can,
Yeah.
transfer it. And they don't even know that it's on
That it's
there.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't shown yet.
It's a lot, and people need to commit to learning That takes apprentice because I know for a fact there's no formal school here in the US for tattooing.
Hmm.
Maybe in Japan, maybe in India, but even then you still got to be real close uh with the elder, and they may say
Yeah.
go wash your clothes, go pick up lunch, go do this, because if you can't follow those fucking basic ass instructions, how you gonna handle the instructions of something that can cause somebody a life-threatening disease or disorder or scarring or something, a ugly ass
Hmm.
tattoo, you know what I'm saying?
Or
Or
psychological,
pain.
like
Yeah. Yeah,
psychological
yeah. The
things happen
pain
too.
can be trauma because you don't know how to control your hand and how deep that needle goes, and you don't, it already go in the skin. Why is you digging deeper? I had somebody do that to me with this tattoo, this one. It's like, why is you going deeper and the needle going deep?
That's
I never went back to them.
There's actually a rite of passage with tattoo where you tattoo yourself first before you tattoo anybody else so that you can actually understand what your hand does so that you don't go around just traumatizing people.
Mm,
Very, I found it to be a very
mm,
important part of apprenticeship.
mm,
So, remembering our roots, servitude as ceremony while watching and sweeping is learning. And I think this is important
mm.
because you just mentioned like, going to do certain things that are really just basic instructions. Um, I think it goes even beyond that, we learn sometimes by osmosis. We learn by
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
observation.
yeah.
We learn and especially African
Melanated.
people.
I was
Yeah,
just about to
like
say that
that.
melanated people definitely learn that way. Touch, feel, smell.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
So with that, I don't think it gets enough play to talk about, those things that seem like they aren't related to any particular thing you're learning, not just tattoo, but whatever apprenticeship you're in, why those things may not seem related.
I was saying, where else can I get a tattoo? No, I'm good. Go ahead.
I was like, what's wrong? So, can you describe some of the tasks that you were expected to perform in any of your apprenticeships?
Yeah, I remember back in the day. Yeah, it was late. I mean, I ain't had Jahan yet. My middle son, I had my oldest, and he was with me. He probably made a little pad on the floor and sleep while we was up all night, and I was helping assist my first godmother in making some shrines for a client, and it was a lot of them. And I mean, just that day started like going to get the birds, finding the birds, and that was a long process. If you don't know, like we was in Ohio, it was everything ain't close together. You got to drive an hour out, and
Mhm.
that was a long day acquiring birds, and then um coming back and preparing, washing the vessels out, preparing everything, preparing the amir, preparing the leaf, preparing this, preparing that. That was a lot. Taking a break for lunch, sweeping up, cleaning up, wiping down stuff because mess up a lot of stuff preparing, and then boom, here goes the making of the shrines. We finished that. You got to clean up. You got to clean up, and that didn't end. That started like real early in the morning, and we didn't end till 2, 3 in the morning. So those sacrifices, stuff like that. And for years, flying back and forth to Nigeria, investing,
Mhm.
saving money, and investing, flying back and forth. That's a sacrifice. And going there and sitting watching. I remember, just bringing people for initiation and sitting and watching and sitting and watching. And one initiation, my elder's like, "You're not sitting down no more. You gonna help." I was like, "Oh, it's fine. Wow." You never know what they gonna say. All right. So it was time. I started. I was like, "Wow." Just remember for what I watched, saw. And she's like, hand me that. So that was that. I was so happy to finally be called, because I'm not, when you sitting and watch, like, I already know that. Hell no. You're not gonna say that. That's a hell no. Mm-mm. You just gonna watch. And you be so observant, and they be like, come go, bring me that, bring me that. You be perched to don't be all on your phone. People just like, no, no, you putting that phone down,
Mhm.
putting that laptop down. You are being they want you to watch. Sometimes they may even see, what did you see? What did you see me do? Oh, okay. Let me tell you exactly what that is and what that was, what I did. So you have to be present.
How did you work through any frustrations? Because apprenticeships can also get,
Oh, frustrating.
like
Oh, yeah. I could fly all the way over to Nigeria and thinking I set up something to sit with an elder and they be like, oh, next time. I would be so pissed.
how'd you
It just it wasn't my time. I mean, what you kicking, just a little bit, but I didn't give up. When I went back 6 months later, whatever, we was at it again. Let's try it again. Has happened a lot. Not this time. It's like, but we planned for not this time, and that would be very, very frustrating. That I spent my resources to get over here, and my mind is like very excited to focus and learn this, and it's like, no, not this time. It's like, okay. So what I do, it'd be something that I may need to go back over that I already know, or re-observing again something else, So
I love that.
and just being real with yourself. Is it time for me to learn that at other the next level aspect? Because it might be surpass your capacity at that moment.
That part. So I'm gonna take this back to hair for a second. What parallels did you see between when you were doing your hair apprenticeship, and those? Wait, no. What parallels do you see between tattooing apprenticeships and those in either ATR, ADR, or hair traditions? So like going through the apprenticeships of ADR, ATR, or even hair traditions, what bridges do you see between those
That's
apprenticeships
what
and
I
the
just
ATR?
said. What I just said, having a lot of patience, listening, being observant, is don't go in there, be a blank everything. If you already know something, act like you don't know. Act like you don't know, and re-observe the thing, and because you're gonna see it differently every
Every
single
time.
goddamn time. You're gonna see it differently. You're gonna see it. You're like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see that the first time or the second time. I saw Sinners 3 times and saw so many different things each time.
She let
Titanic,
us
I didn't see.
she let us know,
Color
y'all.
Purple, I didn't see over 20 times. And I done seen something different each and every single time. It's like, oh, it's not like, oh, I already seen Color Purple to me. I ain't I already know what's going to happen. No, you literally see something different every single time. You hear that song that Suge sings differently. You hear
Mhm.
it differently because you had a different aspect in your life. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to hear it. It's like, oh, God is trying to tell me something. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's totally different when Mr. Wasn't his name. That's what Celia used to call him, Mr. And the kids when he got when she cursed him, everything you done him. I mean, every single time. So you that's what you need to learn to do is, as my elders said, and my mama, take the cotton out your ears and put it in your mouth. That's an African
Ooh.
American proverb.
Ooh. I remember that one. My grandmama told me that one before, and I was like, I was little too, and it still stung. Like it was like, oh man.
Mhm.
So this conversation is the last one we've had before about ego in apprenticeships and checking your ego at the door. I know, like,
It's too much. It's too much ego.
let's talk about that, and especially for
I'm dealing
diaspora,
with a couple
because
folks now. I already know that. I already know this. I can only learn in this type of capacity. Okay, if you know everything, you don't need me. You don't need me. Ah,
and when people wash their hands of you,
not the
this is
go.
what
Not the go. Okay. Mm-mm.
What are some ways that people can actually check their ego? Because there are people who want to learn and ego may get in the way, and we may not realize it, or I be trying to give people grace for like 5 minutes, 5 minutes. But we may not realize it, or we don't have practices to really actually keep our ego in check. What are some things that you may have done or you can advise to help with that? Wow.
Reading, uh, meditation, um, therapy. I don't think you should start any of these things without therapy. And if you feel you don't need therapy, then again, this ain't the place for you.
You don't
Or
need it.
like therapy is that, so those trauma, any triggering conversations, you know what I'm
Because they will
saying?
happen.
Won't shrug off these different emotions that you
Mhm.
had connected with these traumas. It's like this is a different person, it's a different situation. And if your ego does not allow you to see it that way, then that's not the place for that you shouldn't be doing any type of apprenticeship until you address those things. Because even when it comes to customer service, if a client talks to you the wrong way and it can be triggering for you, and you're not patient, you're not accommodating, you're not you know how to talk, you need to learn how to also talk professional. If that means going to a class and learning those nuances, um that's very important to learning those things. I can't express that enough. Therapy and being professional, and also two very important things: spiritual hygiene, making sure you check shit at the door before you come up into anybody's space, even when you're apprenticing. You may talk to your apprentice or talk to your your Baba, and say, hey, I'm not feeling this today. I'm not in a good mood. I'm a little down today. Having effective and clear communication with who your teacher is, and let them know what energy. They may even be like, you know what, just take off today to go focus on healing and grounding and things like that, depending on who you working with. So learning to check things at the door and talk through those are very important and effective, because when you get your own clientele, you don't want to bring, if you didn't had a horrible day before or had an argument before, you don't want to bring that shit into your space. So you want to have spiritual hygiene.
And you don't want to leave it in their skin.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, right. You can transfer. That's why I said spiritual hygiene. You can transfer these energies. And secondly, body hygiene
Your face.
is real important. Having the way you present yourself, you can have your own fashion, but baby, smell good. Okay.
Take pride in yourself.
Take pride in yourself, mind, body, and spirit. Because if you struggling to get some clientele, also, it may be one of those three. It's important because clients in my spaces, the client with the Botanica and with the hair salon, people say the same thing. The energy feels good in here. No matter what, energy is nice. I'm burning incense. I'm continuing to keep the tone together. Even if I don't feel right, or I put certain things on me to help shift my energy so people don't pick it up or pick up on it right away. And uh you have to learn and taking care of yourself physically as well, whether it's exercise, eating right, um, all of that it's just cohesive. It all goes together,
Hands in
all
hand.
and
Yeah.
that all umbrellas under apprenticeship, because your teacher should be teaching you those things as well. And sometimes the teacher need to tighten up on their shit, and they need to evaluate their ego and their practices. And sometimes you have to shift. You can't be rigid as a teacher as well. You have to shift. Like, okay, because I'm telling you, you can't be dogmatic in this. You have to be very flexible, because what happened 10, 15 years ago definitely is not happening right now. And so that's why you can't be rigid and so dogmatic in your practices. You have to shift with the times. You have to shift with the people you are working with. So teachers, be on top of your ego as well. Check that shit at the door as well. Cause you don't know, even though you are great at what you did, you don't know every goddamn thing. You don't. You will continue to learn until the day you die. My 80-year-old elder said that. He said that. Arawa Elohim, till you die, you are forever learning. You do not know every single thing. So continue to stay on top of don't ever get to this level and be complacent and say, I don't need to go to no more classes. No, you need continual education always. You need to continue to travel. You need to continue to expose yourself to different sceneries, people, places, and things so you can stay on top of your craft, whatever that
Continue
may
to
be.
elevate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 3 books. Do you have 3 book recommendations of things that have shaped your apprenticeships that people could read?
The four
Agreements.
The Four Agreements is really good. And keep reading it.
Yes.
And keep reading it and keep reading it and keep reading it over because you'll see a different aspect. And the fifth agreement. And what's the one Will Smith always recommend? That one is good. Let's start with an A.
I'm looking it up just in case.
Okay. Gotta come back to me. What is Girl, I should have had them books already ready. But those are my main ones.
We can also, because I'm putting together, we have
Name of that book.
we have an Amazon, starts with an A. It didn't come up.
I'm about to get it.
The Alchemist?
Yes.
The Alchemist.
Yes. I'm like, my mind would have went
Yeah,
blank. The
The
Alchemist.
I didn't know he recommended that book all the time. I've read it. I didn't know. Yeah.
I didn't know about it until he recommended it. Yeah. That one is good. To keep revisiting that, who you are and building your character and your and that's it. That's all I can think of right now, the top of my head.
Okay.
I did say the fifth element after the fourth element.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 4 elements.
Yeah.
4 agreements. The fifth agreement is a good one too.
I forgot all about that one. I'm going to throw in the Celestine Prophecy. That
Okay.
book changed my life.
Yeah. You gotta send me that one.
Yeah. You want a copy or you want just the link to the book? I mean, I don't have an extra copy, but you could read it.
Yeah, send that to me. Okay. Yeah, I'll read that.
It's my favorite book. I read it literally like every 2 to 3 years. Like it's a prescription. So yeah, I think the 4 agreements I'm now at reading once a year, like it's a prescription.
Okay. Yeah, because you got to go. You'll see something different this time. You're like, I do need to not judge people. I do need to not take things personal. You know what I'm saying? Because we always taking stuff personal. Yeah, you're right. They may be going through their thing and they come back and they look different. So yeah.
I read them. I think at every like especially when you start to see yourself shift. Those life-changing books are worth it to go back to because then you can really check and weigh yourself. Self accountability. So yeah, we'll be back for more in another conversation. Thanks for hanging out. She cute, y'all. She feels herself. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I really, really always love talking to my godmom. Like she's just medicine in human form and just always cussing and just yes. Anyway, be sure to check out Tattoo Rants, Raves, and Rituals as these episodes come down and get your tickets for Black Tattoo Culture Con. Come into the city if you're not in DC. And if you are in DC, meet me there, don't beat me there. Or beat me there, don't meet me there. However that goes, whatever. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you want to work with me, while my tattoo books are closed, my tattoo wait list is always open, so you can always hop on that. You can also join Tattoo Academy. That is open. Tattoo Academy is a 90-day tattoo accelerator where you can learn the fine art of tattoo and cultural stewardship under my auspices. Uh, and if you wish, after that, you can move into a traditional tattoo apprenticeship. And then you can also check out my master class. If you are not into tattoo, but you find this work interesting, where you can apply a lot of what you learn here to what you do, or you want to build your brand, anti-branding and specializing or helping people build their anti-brand is my specialty beyond the chair. So hit me up. My masterclass is a 90-minute masterclass to help you get the fuck out of your way and to build a brand that feels like home, that you will be proud to actually mindfully market. And you can go forth, be great with confidence, clarity, and character for coin. So, all that said, and the class is only $35. Think of it as a tree. It is the gift that keeps on giving. So you pay $35. You apply the things, it gives. You apply the things again, it gives, and it grows some more. So the more you nurture your learning, the more that is going to help nurture your brand, and then your brand is going to turn around and nurture the fuck out of you. I hope that makes sense. I hope to see you on the other side. No matter which offering, I love to meet people. So be sure to reach out. Again, I Kawaii everywhere on all platforms. IPUKEKAWAII or blacktattooanthology.com. All right, I'll talk to y'all soon. Janae, as always, I'm rooting for you. Gambate, ne?